How's it going, backpackers? My name is Dave and this channel is called Off Grid, and on this channel I like to talk about all things backpacking, hiking, camping, and gear. If you like those things too, please think about subscribing to the channel and checking out that bell notification so that I can send you a video every single time it's released. Now today I'm going to be doing another first look for you guys, and it is for a product that is multiple years old at this point, but it is new for me. And if you haven't heard about it yet, and you are interested in getting into alcohol stove systems, then you definitely need to check this product out. And I'm going to be doing sort of an unboxing. Not really, it's mostly just a first look because I already ripped open the box and I'm doing my own time trials and all this other kind of stuff with it. So I'm really excited to try this one out. And it is called the Caldera Cone by Trail Designs. And this is everything that I got with my particular system here. So I'm gonna end up going through all the usual stuff for you guys. I'm gonna be doing the tech specs, what I paid for it, and all that other kind of good stuff. And then I'm also gonna be showing you the different features that I'm excited to try out with this stove. I haven't used it in the field yet. I've done one single time trial test so far, right before this video actually. So I'm gonna be doing a few more because I wanna let you guys know, and a little bit of a sneak peek here, I'm going to be doing a time trial comparing this one to my original stove system, alcohol stove system that I was using before. And the biggest difference really is going to be the cone itself, comparing that to my old Vargo windscreen. So I had a little bit of a hiccup in the field with the Vargo windscreen, so the sneak peek there is definitely bought this to see if it could compete with it. So be on the lookout for that video coming up in the near future. But for right now, let's just break into this guy right here and show you all the different pieces. This is the outside of the carrying case. Basically, it's sort of like a hardened plastic. The good pro tip for this one too is that I've heard you can end up using this as like a mug or a bowl if you wanted to. It's a little bit more narrow here, so not that wide, but you could end up like throwing some cereal in there or maybe even oatmeal or something like that. I've heard that this is heat resistant enough that you can put boiling water into it, so it's really cool as a sort of like a double duty for not only acting as a carrying case but also for your mug. I mean, you could use it for, you know, your teas, coffees, and like I said, like hot breakfast or whatever. But the case is definitely a little bit heavy. I really don't know how to remedy that though, mostly because you're protecting the precious cargo here on the inside. So it comes with the cone, which is custom made to fit your own specific pot, has a little rubber band around it, the top portion of the carrying case, and then it comes with its own fuel bottle as well as a little measuring cup too, which has different measurements on the side, all the way from, geez, I don't know, 2.5 milliliters up to 30 milliliters, which is an ounce, all the way to the top. But I really like that it has multiple different notches on it, so you can really like dial in how much alcohol you want to use. So that's really cool. The fuel bottle is not the best in my opinion. They have an O-ring in the middle here, and they have an additional, I don't have it here with me right now, but an additional like insert for the middle of this plastic bottle, so it kind of like measures it out a little bit better. But I don't plan on using this because I ended up getting one on Amazon that has its own like dropper top that I think is a little bit better of a design. And then you have a choice when you buy the system of two different stoves that it comes with as well. I chose the Cogent stove. They also have another stove that they call the 12-10 stove, which to me just kind of looked like your standard, you know, aluminum style soda can that they ended up cutting up in a particular way. But what I really liked about this and what I've seen from other YouTubers is that it has this pad on the inside here. I'm gonna actually take it out so I can show you guys, because I don't really see anybody else taking it out. I haven't used it yet with the pad, but this is basically what it is. It basically just looks like a big cotton ball that they shoved in there. But what's really cool about it is that you can put your, and it's like shedding all over the place here, but you can put your alcohol directly on this. It ends up soaking up into the pad, and then when you flip it over, it doesn't end up leaking out. So it's essentially leak proof when you put your alcohol in. It really depends on like how saturated it is, obviously, and how much you're putting in there. But I thought that was really cool about it. The size of this overall is kind of tiny. I think it's more of like a 2-ounce tin, and it has a cool design on it. It's green, but I don't plan on using this either. I might end up putting this in my time trial tests in that video, but I don't intend on using this one either because I have the Toaks Titanium Siphon Burner, which I think is a little bit better and more powerful. But anyway, let's get into the price point now because I haven't talked about that. And it's really specific to your pot. It's the first thing that I have to allude to before I get into the price point because it's going to fluctuate depending on the type of pot that you have. And that is both a pro and a con for right now. I'm not gonna get into like super specific stuff until I have more time using this and a better review on it. But for me, right off the top of the dome, I was looking at it going like, that's both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because the cone is fitted perfectly to your pot. I've already tested it out, like I mentioned, and it is like perfect. Like it fits all the way, like the top right here of the cone. And I'll show you, let me show you that right now too. Show you how it kind of like comes together. Kind of unfurls here. It's got this dovetail, they call it a dovetail fitting, that just slides into itself like that. And your pot goes right on top here with the handles kind of sticking out. So I have, it really depends if you have handles too on your pot. I have the Toaks Titanium 750 milliliter titanium pot without the bail handle, just the normal pot with the handles, and the handles just kind of like stick through the opening at the back right here. But the pot literally goes all the way down, and then the top rim of the pot is like right here on the outside. So it's a little bit sharp. You kind of have to be careful with it. I haven't cut myself with it yet, but I'm a klutz and I probably will at some point. But that's why I also plan on taking this carrying case out in the field. I really don't know if anybody else is selling something that's lighter weight than this that I can bring into the backcountry while still protecting the integrity of the cone. That's the biggest thing that I wanted to do, is to protect this. This is a very lightweight titanium material, so I wanted to make sure that it doesn't end up getting crunched in my pack and then, you know, really messing with the overall shape, because I want to keep this like cone shape intact as much as possible. But anyway, with all that out of the way, when you go to their website, you can choose the type of titanium or aluminum pot that you have. They have all the major brands on there, like Trangia, Vargo, Toaks, the Snow Peak stuff. They have a couple REI options, Evernew. But you know, so the list is pretty expansive when you're looking at it, but they don't have everything that's out there. So that right there is both a pro and a con. Like I said, it's custom made for your pot, but if your pot isn't on here, then you kind of have to like do some math or something, I don't know, like to figure out what the diameter is of your pot and try to choose one that's like close to one that you have. So if you have one of the like more popular pots, then you're probably good to go. But if not, then maybe this system won't work for you. So the price point for mine, that was a long roundabout there, but the price point for mine was $35 total, which really isn't bad for everything that you're getting. You're getting a stove with it, you're getting, like I said, the fuel bottle with the cap, you're getting the carrying case, as well as the cone, which acts both as a windscreen as well as your pot stand. So it is, for the most, like the only thing that you really need to add to this system is your pot and the alcohol, your fuel that you're gonna end up burning. That's really it. So for $35 to get all of that is really pretty much like all inclusive. So that's really awesome. I will say, as of the date of this recording, that if you wanted to get both stoves, so they give you the option of getting either the Kojin or the 12-10 stove for free with it, but if you wanted to get both, you can add on the one that you didn't choose for an additional $10. So that's pretty cool too if you wanted to try out both stoves. And then I think there's probably, I think I definitely spent money for shipping as well, but $35 before the shipping. So that's a really good price point for everything that you're getting here. Now let's get into the weights of this guy. And I broke it down on my kitchen scale for every single one of these pieces here so that I can let you know the precise measurements of everything. So for my cone, and again, this is specific to your pot, and a little rubber band that goes around it, it weighed 1.65 ounces on my scale. And it doesn't really, I don't know if it really shows up on the video here, but this is pretty tall. I mean, I would say this is like almost a foot right here, maybe like 9-10 inches. But it really goes to show you, like, with how much material is here, the fact that it's made out of titanium and only weighs 1.65 ounces. That's really cool. The next thing, I'm gonna save the carrying case to last because it's the heaviest, and that's where I kind of like, you know, cringe a little bit. But the Kojin stove that I got with the pad on the inside here ended up weighing on my scale 0.7 ounces, so really lightweight stove right there. And then the empty fuel bottle with the cup on top together ended up weighing 0.55 ounces, so about a half an ounce on my scale. Now here's the kicker. The one thing that weighs quite a lot here is the carrying case, and that ended up weighing 3.3 ounces on my scale. I really want to see if I can figure out a way to carry the stove and not this, because I really don't plan on using this either. But like I said, if I do plan on bringing something like an oatmeal style or whatever, it is cool to have like an additional bowl or something to kind of like work out of, especially if you clean it out real good, and that would be a great option. So that's it for the weights. Now let's get over into why I got this stove and some of the features, or what was the main selling point for me moving over to this. And the biggest thing for me is the fact that, you know, again, one of the biggest pros is that it is custom made for your pot. So that to me was really awesome. The fact that it like really encompasses your pot and is custom made for your pot also means, and another pro that I'm going to talk about here is the heat insulation factor of this simplistic design right here. The very fact that like your pot, let me go get it real quick actually. All right, so here's my Tox Titanium 750 milliliter pot. So literally what you do is you just kind of like snake it in there, and there you go. So the very fact that like it kind of hugs your pot as well as it does like that means that the heat that is produced underneath it from your stove is not going to escape as freely as some of the other systems that you might have seen out there. And that's really key, because that also means that it's going to be more fuel efficient because of the design of it. Basically means the fact that the cone is more flared at the bottom and more narrow at the top, and the fact that the top is basically closed off for the most part. It has a couple vent holes, as you can see around here on the side, where it can kind of like escape so that it doesn't like blow up in your face. But everything else about it is designed so that it has a wider base, and then the heat rises above your pot and then just kind of like stays there within the cone. That basically means this thing gets like ridiculously hot, and that also means that it's going to reduce the overall amount of fuel that you're going to have to use to bring your water to a boil. And the last huge pro that I see about this thing is that it is one of the best wind screens that you're going to find when you're out in the field, particularly because of the fact that my old Vargo screen wasn't really cutting it anymore. I really needed to find something that was going to do a great job at blocking that wind. And if any of you have used an alcohol stove system out there before, you know that wind is your nemesis when you're out there. So you really need to clamp that down and block out as much wind as possible, and this does a fantastic job at that. So I've heard. Haven't used it in the field yet, but really excited to try this out in the field. And then let's get over to the con right now. The only one that I could really think of, there's a couple really, but the biggest one is not only this carrying case, but also the design of it as well. So the design of the cone is really awesome, and is one of the pros, but it's also one of the cons. The fact that it has to go up so high, and the fact that you kind of have to like roll it down to pack it away. And the fact that it is a lightweight titanium here really means that it is going to be flimsy. It's going to be hard to protect, and it, like I said, it kind of like forces my hand to use the carrying case to protect it, and this is a really heavy option, so I don't like that about it. And then the other con, sort of like a slight con, and that for me is going to be the fact that you have to buy the entire system instead of saving a little bit of money and only getting the cone and maybe the carrying case. The fact that like you have to select a stove with it, as well as the measuring cup and the fuel bottle. I actually really like the measuring cup. I'm probably going to use it, but I don't like that I have to buy the entire system. If you're new to backpacking and you want to get into an alcohol stove system, this is a great option. And if you haven't bought the other pieces yet, it's a good starter kit. But I don't really like when other companies make you buy an entire system. JetBoil's doing that with Stash right now too. And I think what a lot of these companies don't realize is that people like to custom make all their different things. They like to use different pieces from here and there and kind of put it all together. So the fact that like you're kind of forced to buy the entire system is definitely more of a con for me as well. And like I said, I don't really plan on using the Kojin stove really, aside from like test trials, because I know that this is not going to be as fuel efficient as my Toaks titanium stove. So that's just a slight con there. But everything else, from the price point and the overall design, I mean, this thing is going to be a winner out in the field. Can't believe that I didn't find this sooner. But, you know, hopefully you guys have, so that you can, you know, jump on this thing. I would highly recommend you picking one up if you haven't already. Great design, great product. And the biggest thing, like I said, is that windscreen factor that is really hard to find in other systems. In other systems, you have to like get like a big sheet and wrap it around, and you still get air kind of like coming in on the sides, and it's just more flimsy, you know, especially with my Vargo screen too. It was a lot more flimsy. Like this is a lot more sturdy too. That could be another pro to throw in there. You don't really worry about it as much, like tipping it over, knocking it over, whatever. So really cool system. Can't wait to try it out in the field. So that's gonna do it for my first look of the Caldera Cone by Trail Designs. Let me know if you guys have had this. You probably have heard of it before, but if you haven't, hopefully this is a good first look for you guys. Let me know your thoughts on the cone down below. And what are some of the pro tips, if you have one, that I missed in this video that I could end up using in the field to you know, improve the overall system, my burn times and whatnot. I would definitely love to hear from you guys in that feedback. So that's going to do it for this one. If you want to see another video which compares alcohol versus gas stove, as well as a like sort of first look into the JetBoil Stash to see if it's actually worth it, I'll post those videos right up here and here for you guys to check out. But that's going to do it for me on this one. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, if you're headed off grid, make sure you do your research and you make it a safe one. I'll see you guys on the next one.